I want you to take out a clean sheet of paper in your book. So there's different note sections throughout your book. Just pull out one of those clean sheets, one of those note sections. I want you to get your pen out. And I want you to write the number 1 at the top. Actually, leave a couple lines at the top. So Lisa, I'm glad I saw you. Leave a couple lines at the top. Then write the number 1. Leave a couple lines, and then write the number 2. Leave a couple lines and write the number 3. Okay, so at the top, I want you to write aha moments from Thursday. So remember yesterday, Thursday, we did the roundtable exercise. We talked about building your power team. We talked about a little bit of creative deal structuring. We talked about the opportunities of becoming a broker with the company. Okay, so write 1, 2, and 3, and write aha moments from yesterday, Denise. Good morning. Hey, Dory, those that were in the room on time this morning, why don't we give them a bunch of raffle tickets? Okay. We got Mike's, Caleb. Who's got something written down already? Or a few things written down? Right there, Caleb. Sorry, it's Jennifer. Jessica. Dang. J.E. I was 2. As many as you want.
One of my aha moments was just how much, like with the stuff, how much paperwork, how focused you need to be, and to notice every little detail so that you're not making big mistakes.
Yeah.
That's one of mine.
How focused we need to be so that we're not making little mistakes. Who has been to the broker certification again? So you guys have met Terry. Do you guys envy Terry's job now after you saw all these files yesterday? Terry, so those of you that don't know what I'm referring to, Terry is our underwriter. And he is amazing at catching every little thing in these files. He's really very good. Our default rate is amazingly low for a hard money lender. Because Terry is great at what he does. So yes, thanks, Jessica. Who else has something written down? Caleb, just start choosing people out of the audience. So those of you that have come in late, we're writing down 3 aha moments from yesterday. Anthony.
Good morning, everybody. One of the aha moments that I had was the capabilities of making money on a deal on the front and back end when you become a broker.
Yes. So were you guys aware of how many people are making money on a transaction? I talked about it yesterday morning. I mean, there's real estate agents, there's hard money loan officers, hard money brokers, title people, attorneys. I mean, actually even the county offices. Even the county office makes money every time you do a deal, right? So there's a lot of hands in the pot every time you do a deal. So you may as well take some control of being a part of as much of that as you can. So that's how you sharpen your pencil and have your margins slim down a little bit on your deals to be able to do more deals. Okay? Okay, other aha moments from yesterday. Back in the back, Caleb. Oh, Kevin.
I say what I learned yesterday. Oh, yes, ma'am. May I help you? Oh, okay. My aha moment was when I was charging too many points and interest for my clients, and they may not come back to me if I charge too many points. So make sure you don't over gouge. You want the repeat business. Thank you.
It's a balancing act, right? We all want to make money, but at the same time, if you charge too much, you're going to turn clients away. You're never going to see them again. And the cost of acquisition, where do we make our money? Yeah, it's repeats. We have to have repeats for us to grow and scale. So it's very, very expensive, and you guys will see this in every business, even in your investing in the property side. It's very expensive to acquire a client. So once you have a client in hand, you have to maintain them. Okay, next.
After Lee explained the brokerage program, kind of find out how more lucrative it would be to be a broker instead of just a borrower.
Okay.
How easily I'll have access to capital.
Did you sign up?
Yes.
Good. So a few of you, I noticed afterwards, and I think we failed to mention it or make it clear. A few of you are talking afterwards saying, for one person to go at the, what was the price, Dave? Dave, what's broker certification? $24.97. So did you guys realize that is for two people? That's not just for one? Okay, so those of you that were sitting back thinking, so that's $5,000 for the two of us to go? It's not. Okay, that's for two people.
And you guys, if you have a power team, because we covered power team a lot yesterday.
Mike, Dave, we've got live streamers too. So, by the way, everybody turn around and say hello to the camera. We never acknowledged the live streamers yesterday.
Good morning,
welcome,
live
live streamers. Okay.
So we discussed a power team extensively yesterday. So when you're building your business, because broker certification is a business, and you're going to want to bring a partner. If you have additional partners, because this is really important, let me know. I can make arrangements. If there are additional people, we add a fee because it takes a chair, it takes additional resources, but we don't add an additional $24.97. We just want to make sure that you have the power team there that you need. So if something isn't the way you think it is, ask me. That's what I'm here for.
Dave likes to make fun of me, but you can beat Dave down a little bit too if you just buy him lots and lots of Perrier, because he'll then pass that on to me to beat me down.
You're welcome.
Oh, I guess I didn't need that mic, did I? I'm already mic'd. Okay, what else? Other aha moments? Yes, in the back. Caleb?
I was amazed at what I found to be the opportunity that exists when you started quoting those numbers about 10,000 people of the baby boomers retiring. Is it every day?
That was Lee that was quoting those numbers.
Okay,
and
Lee did.
And I was in the breakout session. So
Okay, but
let's run
that's-
with that. 10,000 a day.
That's amazing to me. I mean, if nobody else touches them, they're out there for us to use for this opportunity. And I don't mean use, but work with.
It is a lot, though, right?
Yes, I was.
You want to know
I didn't-
something else interesting about that? And Lee may have touched on this. Like I said, I was in the breakout session, but I read an article just a few days ago talking about this trend. And back in the mid 2000s, 2002 to 2007, there was a lot of speak about this as well, and why you should be looking for investment properties in Florida primarily, but then also like Southern California and some of those areas. Well, now the trend, 10 years removed, has changed. A lot of those baby boomers stayed in the market or stayed in the workforce because their retirements took such a hit, right, in the downturn of the bubble. But now the trends have also changed, that they're not looking so much to go to Florida anymore or to Southern California. They're looking to come to some of the other states, such as Texas, such as some of the Gulf states, where it's a little bit more affordable, for one, than California, especially, but also where there's not as many of the weather issues as Florida. So there's tremendous opportunity, not only in those two particular areas that used to be kind of the hot topics, but really everywhere, even some of the cold weather states, in fact. So one of the reasons that it caught my eye, I'm in Salt Lake City. Salt Lake City was never considered a retirement area because of the cold weather. Well, more and more active retiring baby boomers are wanting to come to states like that for the outdoor opportunities. So there's opportunity, regardless of what market you're in, there's opportunities to cater to that. Okay, Caleb, pick somebody else.
It was kind of common sense, but it just kind of clicked with me yesterday, and that is when you when you have something to offer, how much that will increase your ability to network with people. So when you have money to offer rather than a need, I need this, I need property, or I need deals, or I need this. When you have something to offer, how much that can increase your connections with people that you need for what you do need.
Okay. Yeah, that's a great point. We talked about that yesterday morning, and it sounds like Lee talked about it again yesterday afternoon in his presentation, is how can we make money together, right? It's not about me and it's not about you, it's about us. How can we make money together? So if you can bring something to the table as well, that's going to be a huge benefit in building your network. Roland.
Yeah, one of the thing that was an aha moment for me yesterday was, I mean, obviously if a deal looks too good, there's a reason why that's a cliche, is if it looks too good, it probably is. And never fund a golf course in Florida.
I don't remember saying that part. But next time you're in the exercise, now you know, right? That's a good one. Okay. But that's true, guys. It's not that if a deal looks too good to be true, it's not that it is, but I'm always asking myself that. Lee says, I've heard Lee say, ask yourself, why am I the lucky one? Why did I get so lucky that I found this and nobody else did? Mm-hmm. Right? Because you really shouldn't be that lucky. But with repetition, with systems, with doing the way that we teach it and the way that we train it, over time you're going to get lucky more often and more often. It's going to become predictable how lucky you're going to get. But you still have to look at every single deal that way.
And that file was this thick, so we spent a lot of time on it. You spent somebody...
Well, there's a reason it was that thick, right? Yeah. We spent a lot of time on it.
Which was wasted.
Yeah. You're exactly right. All that time was wasted time at the end because, well, was it wasted? No. Dan, I think I'm dead again up here. Okay.
It wasn't wasted because you didn't...
It wasn't wasted because we saved ourselves the hassle of having to foreclose on this huge loan, right? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, that was money well spent. Actually, and that's another point. So, tell me the logic in this, and I hope they're not live streaming. But maybe they are. I guess maybe I do hope that she is live streaming because she can learn this lesson again. So I had one of my clients call me up the other day that I had gone out and done an on-site training with, just a one-on-one training in Southern California. She calls me up and she says, Regan, we've got this deal, gives me all the details, blah, blah, blah. They've got $5,000 on this deal as earnest money, and then they're going to be contributing another $75,000 in cash into this deal to close. So right off the bat, first of all, I said, well, I'm sure there's other ways we can structure this, so let's come up with other ways of doing this that you're not going to have to contribute so much cash, but okay, keep going, tell me about the details. Goes on and on and on, tells me all the stuff that I don't need to know. Really the only things I need to know are what? How much can I get it for? How much is it worth? And what's it going to take? Or what's my rehab cost? Or what's my exit strategy? Right? Those are the three things I need to know. How much can I get it for? What's it worth? What's my exit strategy? And what's that going to cost? But anyways, after we went through all this long stuff, I said, you know what you really need to do, because this is a very unique property, you need to go get an appraisal done. She said, well, Regan, this is a commercial property. That appraisal is going to cost me $1,500. I said, ma'am, because I won't say her name, ma'am, you got $5,000 of earnest money sitting there right now, and you're planning on putting $75,000 out of your pocket into this deal, and you don't want to spend $1,500 in due diligence to make sure you're getting a good deal? Where's the logic in that? Right? That's money well spent. Either way, whether that comes back and says yes or no, that's money well spent. Okay? So think about that. Don't be penny pinchers to the point that it costs you. And how do you think I've learned this lesson? That's why I'm up here, and you guys aren't learning. I think, Tammy, it was you that said yesterday you don't want to learn from the school of hard knocks. Okay? Lee can tell you war stories. I can tell you war stories. Lots of other people can tell you war stories. I've lost hundreds of thousands, probably millions of dollars over the years in deals that I should have been able to avoid. Okay? That's not good, obviously, right? But I've learned a lot through that, and that's why we want to help you to be able to learn from some of our lessons. Now, if you're active in the market and you're out there doing things, you're going to lose money here and there. And sometimes that's welcomed. Sometimes I would way rather lose $50,000 on this deal than the $100,000 or $200,000 that I could have lost. Mm-hmm. Okay, but you've got to take that in consideration and be willing to do that due diligence properly. Okay, next.
Well, that was kind of like the lesson I learned yesterday when we were in the breakout, and you laid out the formula: 65% of the ARV minus the repairs. And so now my focus is on the ARV in the deal.
Yes.
And then I go back from there, and my offer will be structured based on that formula. And so I don't have to concern myself with much of anything else. I can submit as many offers as I want when I know the ARV based on the formula. I can present a dozen offers if they come back within the parameters of the formula.
Hey, Bernie. Can you guys end your conversation?
Okay.
Thank you. So to clarify, for those of you that weren't part of the breakout session, or maybe didn't understand what we're talking about there, we talked about yesterday out in the breakout session, so let's touch on it real quick right now. How do we determine our offer? Well, never mind. I'm not going to touch on it right now because we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it here in a few minutes. As long as we know ARV, we can determine what we're willing to offer on any property. Doesn't matter how rough it is right now. Doesn't matter all those other things. Now, to clarify, when you go submit your loan package and one of our loan officers looks at it, they're going to look at that differently than I am, okay? I look at it from the real estate side and from is this a potential profitable deal side. The loan officer is going to look at it different because they've got to look at it and analyze it from a what's it worth today standpoint, because that's what the loan and the lender are going to be willing to put money against, right? So I'll clarify that a little bit further, but thank you. Good point. One more. Dave.
How, out of the stuff that we did yesterday is how to analyze a property and present it to investors when you're looking for partners.
So, yes, that's a good point. Some of these files were well put together, well documented, easy to look at and say, yes, this is a good deal, right? Others of these files, you guys were asking me, well, what are they even asking for here? What do they want? Okay? So, same thing, keep that in mind when you go to present to your investors or your partners or whatever it is that you're using. The more documented, the more information, the more answers you can give them, the higher the chances that they're going to be willing to work with you, right? I mean, it seems obvious, but you wouldn't be surprised now because you saw all these files yesterday. But was that a little bit surprising to you yesterday? Yes. How many of these files people had just thrown together with useless garbage? So okay, good. Keep that in mind. Let's move on. So a couple of reminders from yesterday I want to touch on real quick. Did everybody got one of these sheets yesterday morning? Did anybody not get one of these sheets? Okay. Okay. So these, I'll get you guys, if I can get like 2 more of these, Dave or Bernie? 2 more of these sheets. They're right behind you, I think, on top of the organizer there. Okay, so if you were unable to get these apps downloaded on your phones, grab one of us on the bus. We'll help you get them downloaded. But just these are going to be reference points, and I'll talk about them more on the bus while we're going out to the property. So don't worry about doing it right now, but just get them done. So you guys need one, Ellen, Caleb. We need Tabitha and Judy. Okay, other things. We did not talk about this yesterday. You guys have obviously seen that we we pray at our events. We pray before meals and before we begin the event. On Sunday morning, we will offer a church worship service. Is that starting at, Dory, is this starting at 8 a.m. this week?
I'm sorry.
Is it 8 a.m. here? Because we're Central Time? What time is church service?
7:45.
7:45. Okay. So those of you that would like to come to church service, non-denominational Christian service, where we'll take a chapter of the Bible and study through it, that'll be 7:45. We do need a choir. So any volunteers that would like to be part of the choir, Lee will be playing the piano, and that's not a joke. Lee's an incredibly good piano player, for those of you that haven't seen that or been to our events, and he'll also be our preacher. So, but if you would like to participate in the choir, practice will be tomorrow night, Dory?
Yes, tomorrow night at 9.
Tomorrow night at 9,
Here.
choir practice in this room. There will be a sign-up sheet on the back table. So anybody that does participate in the choir will get a free T-shirt from the ministry. So sign up for that. And then church service, again, like I said, starts at 7:45 Sunday morning. So please join us for that. If you are not coming to church service, the regular session will start at 9 a.m. Okay? So if you're not coming to church service Sunday morning, you can sleep in. Regular session, 9 a.m. On the bus today, VIPs, raise your hands, VIPs. On the bus today, at lunch, you will come out of the bus first. We'll form a separate line, and we'll take you straight into the restaurant. They'll be ready and waiting for our whole group to come, so they'll expedite us through. But VIPs, you're on us. We're paying for lunch. You'll go straight into the restaurant. The rest of you will form a line. We will be having them coordinated so that you can get in as quickly as possible, but you will need to pay for yourselves individually as you go in. Camille, yes?
Lunch will run you about
$12.
$12.
So if you can have it ready, is that an exact?
Nope, but that's the best I can do.
Is it slightly more or slightly less?
About that.
Have $13 out of your pocket. Have $13 out of your pocket ready to hand to them, and they'll walk you right in. We'll make it as quick as possible, okay? And that will be a buffet with drink. And there will be fried chicken at Lee's request. So, any questions on lunch then? Okay, we will have water with us too. If you're diabetic or other needs where you need something in between, you'll want to grab some snacks before we go. So I don't know if there's a vending machine or a store up front in the hotel. You'll want to grab some snacks and take those with you, but we will have water.
Please grab a bottle of water on your way out.
Yes, bottle of water's on the back table. You will need pad folios today on the bus. You will need pad folios to take notes. So those of you that do not have pad folios, we'll make them available to you. We just need to get you, we need to know that you need one, and we can, Dave or Caleb or somebody can come around, get you taken care of while I'm up here presenting, get you a pad folio, because you do need to take that with you out on the bus. So we'll bring the card swiper and we'll bring the pad folios around, and you can just do that, take care of that while I'm speaking. And last of all, finally, all the housekeeping items. But this one's good. Who did the credit increase yesterday? 1, 2, 3. Let's get another mic. 4. Caleb. Let's just have one of you. So how much did you get increased, Denise? They denied you? Okay. Yvette, did you say you did it?
Everything's online, so you have to go online or do it through an automated system.
So she says everything's online. You have to do it online or through an automated system. What credit card?
That was Capital One.
Really? Kevin, what did you?
I had American Express, and I called their world-class service, and it was somewhere in India. And it's under review. I requested, an increase.
Okay.
And they said they would let me know in 7 to 10 business days.
So you requested a larger increase where they did a hard credit pool.
Oh, no. No, I asked them what they would give me.
Okay, but
Just
they told
like
you
the
7
script.
to 10 days?
7 to 10 business days.
So you did not authorize a credit pool?
They didn't authorize it.
Okay,
But
good.
it's under pending approval.
Okay, so they're
I'll
going to
get
come
it.
back to you. Okay. And in the back, sorry, remind me your name. I can't see your name tag. No. Flavia, that's right.
Yeah, same thing as Kevin. It is under review. 7 to 10 days.
Okay. They're on to us.
Chase.
They used to do it immediately right there on the phone.
Yeah, I done before.
Okay. Okay. And Rashid.
Yeah, mine is also Capital One under review. I tried to even get to speak with the supervisor, and they still said under review in 1 to 3 business days.
What card?
Capital One.
Okay.
But I was able to get a 4% rate decrease.
A 4% rate decrease?
Yes.
Okay, so far you're the only one that's had any success. So far you are the only one in the running for your $3,000 prize. The rest of you, get on it, because that prize is going to be awarded.
2 weeks ago, and I was denied 5 different cards.
You were didn't.
They didn't go by the script.
Okay.
On the second question.
Did you ever end up naming a price to them?
No.
Okay. Maybe try that. So call back and try that. So. Okay, who raised their hands? Thanks, Caleb. Oh, Ken, I almost got you right in the head. Flavia. Oh. Okay. Good job, guys. The winner of that will be awarded tonight. And remember, it's a $3,000 value prize. So there's some money on the line, guys. Sign up or get on board. Okay, let's get rolling because we are scheduled to get on the bus here shortly after 9 o'clock. And we're going to roll out of here. I've got 6 properties today that we have the opportunity to look at. We're not going to make it to all 6. I'll already tell you that. Depending on how quickly we get in and out and analyze these, we will make it to as many as 5. Okay? So if you guys help me and play along and we go quickly, we'll make it to 5. Keep that in mind. We need to flow smoothly through these properties. We need to analyze quickly. And the more help you guys can give me, the better that will be. The other thing to keep in mind is, and I lost my train of thought on it. Now I don't remember. These are all 5 available, by the way, or all 6. Okay, these are all 6 properties that we can purchase. These are all single-family homes, various price ranges. Okay, so let's dive in. I'm going to teach you the trick that I use to do a 5-minute analysis of a property. I can walk in and out of a property in my market, and in under 5 minutes, I will be plus or minus 10% on my rehab costs. Does that sound like it would be valuable for you guys? Because right now, I can guarantee some of you are spending 3 days analyzing a property before you're even willing to write an offer. Am I right on that? Okay. In fact, I can guarantee some of you are spending, 3 days before you even think about writing an offer. So I don't even, just to be clear, I don't even go out to a property and do this analysis until I already have a contract written and signed. Why do I say that? Before I even jump into the presentation, why do I tell you that? Because these 6 properties that we're going to look at today, if you guys were interested in one of these 6 properties, and so was I, you're not going to go look at it until sometime later today, and I have already written an offer on it yesterday, if I was your competition in your market. Okay? Do you have any chance of competing against me from that standpoint? No. Okay? So we're going to talk about some of the things that you guys can do to be more competitive in your markets in analyzing these deals and lose less deals because of loss of time and inefficiency. I talked about yesterday you should be writing 4 offers per week. If you're going to drive out to each property and you're going to do a full day's worth of due diligence, is it even possible for you to write 4 offers a week? It's not, right? So this writing your 4 offers per week as part of that rule of 56 yesterday, that should take no more than like 2 hours out of your entire week to write those 4 offers. Okay? For 4 offers, it shouldn't take any more than 2 hours out of your entire week. You're only going to go do this analysis once one of 2 things has happened. They've countered you back at terms close enough to where you think, okay, yes, we probably have a deal, but I want to go look at it and make sure that I'm comfortable with my numbers. Or secondly, the properties we're looking at today are coming from one of my local wholesalers that I've networked with over the years. And with this particular wholesaler, as with most wholesalers in most of your markets, once you sign the contract and give them earnest money, it's non-refundable. I never sign a contract that I haven't seen a property. I never put non-refundable earnest money that I haven't seen a property. How do you think I learned that lesson? Okay? Don't learn it the hard way. I've lost tens of thousands of dollars. I'm not the quickest learner because I've done it on a few deals. But I have a hard-standing rule in my business. I never let earnest money go hard on a deal on a property that I haven't seen. I don't care how wonderful and fantastic and good it appears to be. And I don't care who's told me how wonderful and fantastic and good it is. If it's my money, it's my responsibility to protect it. Not anybody else's, right? So keep that in mind. Number two, keep in mind, I never close on a deal, sight unseen, obviously, because I've already seen it before my earnest money's gone hard, okay? So, but in most scenarios, if it's not a wholesaler, I'm putting in offers sight unseen. And so we'll talk about through these 5 steps, how can we analyze these things sight unseen without having to go out to the properties? Today, we're obviously going to go out to them so that I can point out individual things to you guys. But in most cases, I wouldn't even go out to it, okay? And every time I say K today, you guys are allowed to throw apples and oranges and balls, water. You're allowed to throw that at me, okay?
When you say without seeing the property, do you mean without... Sorry, when you say without seeing the property, do you mean without inspecting it first? When it comes to like putting down earnest money?
I mean without seeing it, period.
Okay.
Not an
Not
inspection,
necessarily
not a
an
home inspection, not an appraisal. I mean without seeing it.
Yeah, that brings up a question.
If I don't answer these questions through the presentation, then I'll answer them at the end. Is that fair?
Right.
Because we've got to get moving. Okay, so how do we determine if a deal is fundable or not fundable? Each home has its checkpoints and it's a numbers game. And write this down. Real estate is a science. It is not an art. I talked yesterday, I mentioned it a few times. Predictable. You've got to make your business predictable. Okay? I know, based on how much marketing I send, based on past performance of my marketing, I know how many people are going to respond to my marketing. And based on my past ratios and my ability to close, I know that depending on how many people respond to my marketing, how many doors I'm going to get in front of, or how many people I'm going to get in front of. And from there, I know how many of those people I'm going to close and sign contracts. And from there, I know how many of those are going to convert to closed deals. My business has become predictable because of my track record and because of tracking it. You guys have got to do the same thing. It's a science, it's not an art. Okay? You can get lucky here or there. But by putting in proper systems and procedures, it's going to become predictable, and that's what you're looking for. Take the forms on the bus. So behind this presentation, there's some forms in there. Take those on the bus so you can take notes on each property as we go through. And at the end, we'll decide what makes a deal fundable or unfundable. So we're going to look at it from the lender's perspective. Is it fundable or not? And then we're going to look at it from the buyer's perspective. Is it a deal that I would buy or not? Because there is a difference. On the way to the property, before we even make it to the property, here's some things you're going to look for. Are the homes in the area of similar size, shape, appeal, those things? We're going to know that about our property before we go there, right? If we're looking at a 2-story home that's 2,500 square feet, but as we're driving into the neighborhood, all we see is 1930 bungalows that are 900 square feet, and all we see is pawn shops with bars on their windows. Are we looking at a neighborhood that fits the property we're looking at? No. How do we account for that? It's drastically reducing the value of our property, right? So, does that mean it's a dead deal? No, not at all. I told you guys yesterday, I bought a property 2 weeks ago for $25,000 in Tooele, Utah. It's a rough house in a rough neighborhood. Don't really care. Don't really care that it's a rough house in a rough neighborhood, and that I would probably only go to that property after dark if I was carrying a gun. I don't really care because I'm still going to make a return on that investment. Now, if it had been in a different neighborhood on a different side of town, it probably would have been worth $50 or $60 or $80,000, and I wouldn't have had to carry a gun after dark. Okay, so just take that into account. Okay, we pull up to the property. First thing we do before we even walk inside the door, we're going to scope it out from top to bottom from the outside. Okay, so we're looking for what does it look like? Exterior lights. Are they attractive? The first thing somebody sees when you go to sell this property down the road, first thing somebody sees is the exterior, correct? So you have to make it appealing from the outside. So the things you're going to look for are the same things. The exterior lighting, is it ugly, old, faded, the gold lights from the 1980s? Or is it good-looking new, brushed nickel or bronze, something like that, if it's a nicer house? Now, if it's a cheap bungalow, old house, maybe you don't need to worry about this at all. Maybe it's not an issue at all, but you've got to look at this stuff. Or are they hanging off the house or non-existent? Trim, walls and paint. So we're talking exterior walls and paint. Obviously, if it's peeling paint, it's got to be taken care of. Siding, doors, screen doors, house number, mailbox. Screen doors, if it's still got the old aluminum 1980s or 1970s aluminum screen doors that are barely hanging on the hinges, just take them off and put a good-looking front door that's painted as an accent color to the rest of the house. Okay, you guys know what I mean when I say accent color? So not a matched color, but if you're painting the rest of the house a tan or a cream, paint your door bright red. Okay, reds are big right now. Oranges, believe it or not, oranges are big right now. So you can accent that front door in a bright orange or a bright red or a bright green, something like that. It will bring some curb appeal. Does it have house numbers, and does it have a mailbox? You would be amazed how often I go to look at homes and I can't even find the house number on it. So I have to drive up and down the street and figure out, okay, well, this one is 259 and this one's 222. So I'm guessing it's one of these two right here, and you just got to try your luck. So you can't have people be turned away when you go to sell your house down the road by having stupid, simple things like that not be there. Okay. In the yard, what are we looking for? Is the landscaping taken care of? Are the trees trimmed? Fencing. Did you know you can't even have peeling paint on your fence? Okay. If you've got peeling paint on your fence when you go to sell the house, that's an FHA and a VA flag. You cannot get those financing mechanisms on a house if you've got peeling paint anywhere on the premise. So not only do you need to paint the house, you also need to paint the fence if that's the problem. Okay? Decks, stairs, porches, railings, all those things, you're just looking for general curb appeal. If you've got old, ugly, beat-up garbage bins, call the city, ask that they come replace the garbage bins. Little things like that just add a lot to the cleanliness and the look of the property. Does that make sense? Okay. Wow. I'm not staying away from the air conditioner. I learned my lesson yesterday. It's good now. Okay. Other things from the outside: driveway, sidewalk, the concrete. Is the concrete brick, or is the concrete cracked and settling? I rarely ever replace concrete on the outside unless there's major settling. I mean, if we've got major separation of an inch, then I may consider taking it out and replacing it. Most of the time, I'll just grind it down and fill it, though. So I'll just grind it to level and fill it with a sealant. Okay. Overall condition of the home. Anything else that you notice outside? Overall presentation and appeal. It is well worth your money to spend a couple $100 in some small trees and shrubs and little things to put in the front flower bed. Put a pottery flower pot with some, if it's in season, put some flowers in there that are going to stay in bloom. If it's not in season, put a little shrub bush or something like that in there. It's well worth your money to get that curb appeal. Spend a few $100s for it. And get the grass green from day one. So the first thing my contractors are tasked with doing when they show up to one of my properties to start the project, get it trashed out and get water on the grass. Because if you're looking at my rehabbed house versus my competitor's rehabbed house a block away, and they're nearly identical properties, but you pull up to mine and it's got trees and shrubs and green grass, and you pull up to his and all you're seeing is the dead, brown, ugly yard, but you do have new windows and all the other same things on the inside. So the house looks okay, but the yard looks horrible. Who's got the edge right there? I do. How much did that cost me to green up my lawn? Maybe $60 in additional water bills, right? Doesn't cost very much. So that's an easy thing. Some other easy things: replace exterior lights, we talked about that. Apply a fresh layer of mulch. Repair or replace window screens. Now, you guys have all seen the old bent, broken window screens. Okay? Sometimes I just rip them out and throw them away. I would rather have no window screen than a bent or broken window screen, because that's a bigger eyesore than none at all. If they're doing an FHA loan or a VA loan again, some appraisers, all appraisers should, most won't, some appraisers will catch that you don't have your window screens and they'll force you to put them in. But a lot of times, I just trash all the window screens. If they don't look good, if they don't look appealing, they just go in the dumpster, out of sight, out of mind. Okay? So I would rather have none at all than scabs. Add shutters in some cases. You've got to then just calculate. So this is the bottom line. Before you walk in the door, step number 1 of your 5-minute assessment, what's it going to cost me to add curb appeal to this property? Okay, we're moving inside. Excuse me, we're still not moving inside. One big major thing outside, we're looking at the roof. Now, oddly enough, in this room, I think we had 3 roofing contractors, right? Charles, who were the other? Mark, and Roland. Okay. Oh, and Guy. Okay. So, what's that? Oh, you're past roofers also. Okay. So we've got a few people in this room that can tell us about roofs, right? Now, I will already prep you, and I hate to burst your bubbles, guys. I will already prep you that my costs are probably going to be significantly lower than what most of you guys are going to bid. Because, Charles, are you a for-profit roofer? Absolutely. Do you like to make a lot of money in the work that you perform, or do you like to just barely scrape by and... You get paid well for what you do, right? Is that fair to say? Right. Okay. My guys, unfortunately, are the type that they just want bread on the table at the end of the day, and they want to be able to run their Xbox. Okay? So for me to be a profitable business, I use very, very cheap labor. Okay? You guys do how you want, but it's going to make me more competitive by using very cheap labor. So, Charles, I want to hear, and all of you that are contractors, I want to hear your opinions on these costs, and then I'm going to give you my opinions today of saying, well, here's what I would be able to do this for, so that you guys can look at that and say, okay, well, if I go out and hire a great contractor in my market that's very proud of his work and does a fantastic job, I'm going to probably pay sometimes double what it would cost me to get it done by using the labor that I use. That's somewhere where you can sharpen your pencils. Okay? You've probably got those connections, though, as well, because of the fact that you've been in the business. So rather than making your markup in those labor costs, you're going to make your markup in buying and selling the house in this scenario. But roofs are a big deal. So we're going to spend some time. We're going to spend some time talking about that when we go out to these houses. Windows. Now, in this area, this is not going to be as big of a deal as it is in my market. So different people in this room, this is going to be viewed differently. If I'm in California, especially coastal California, I do not ever even consider replacing windows. Because if your climate is between 60 and 80 every day, all year long, does it really matter? No. But I'm in a climate where 3 weeks ago we didn't get above 10 degrees for a week. And then in the summer, I might not drop below 100 for a week. That's a pretty big swing, right? And that's going to cause a major difference in efficiency of the home and in, therefore, appeal, because people are aware of that. And some of your markets are even going to be more extreme than that. We had a couple here from Ohio. You're going to probably even see more extreme on the cold side. And there's going to be, do we have anybody here from Phoenix? Or we do have Vegas. Okay. Are windows a big deal when it's 115 degrees outside? Big deal. Okay, so we're going to approach that and talk about that. Damaged screens we already talked about. Again, what's it going to cost me to conform to my comps? That's all we're looking for. What's it going to cost us to do this? And we'll talk about those costs. Now we are inside, okay? Cosmetics. This is where people will kill themselves. Easy kitchen fixes. How much does it cost to replace a kitchen on an average home? Just say it. 7,000. 7,000 going once. 10,000. Let's put it this way. Let's have a contest. Who has spent the most on a kitchen? Anybody spent more than 10? 10 going once. How much? How much did you say? 17,000. Is that really the highest in the room? I'm shocked. 68,000.
Very high line area. I've spent $90,000.
You've spent as much as $90,000 on a kitchen. Was this yours, or was this a remodel that you were doing for somebody?
The lady
Okay.
that wants it, you got to charge that kind of money because it take her 2 days or two weeks to figure out what color she wants.
Okay, so Alan was a remodeling contractor. He did a kitchen for 68. Is that what he said? 90,000. He did a kitchen for $90,000. Okay, let me put this in perspective for you guys. I've got a house that's going on the market on Monday. The one I was telling you about yesterday, where my carpet guy was supposed to be done. He told me he'd be done tomorrow, right? And I already told my secretary it's not going to happen until Monday. Okay, so that house will be going on the market on Monday. I did a den with 2 desks with granite countertops. I did a full kitchen with an island. I did just 2 bathrooms, one of them with a double sink. Custom cabinets, granite countertops. I'm in it for $8,000. Is that surprising? Okay, that's pretty cheap. That's pretty cheap. Now, for my remodels, that is a very expensive kitchen. I rarely spend more than $4,000 to $5,000. And in most cases, and you'll see it today as we go out to these properties, in most cases, all I do is paint the cabinets, put on new knobs, new hardware, and put on new countertops. So where I go into a kitchen and I'll generally spend less than $1,500, a lot of my competition, a lot of you in the room, would have had the initial instinct to go replace the entire thing where it would have cost you upwards of $6,000 or $7,000. Does that give me some additional spread? Okay, so that's an area where it's easy to sharpen your pencil and save yourself some money. The other thing I do, excuse me, I do almost always replace my appliances, which is something that my competition doesn't do. So I almost always, not always, but I almost always replace my appliances. And I just put a contractor grade, cheap stainless steel package, but everybody sees stainless and they think, ooh, that's nice stuff. Right? My stainless package cost me $1,200 for the full package, for the full kitchen.
What are you calling a package?
Overmount microwave with vent, a flat top stove, and a dishwasher. That does not include a fridge. Okay. If I want a fridge, I'm going to be another $700.
With a dishwasher and a stove, about $2,500.
With a dishwasher and a stove and fridge? And fridge, you're $2,500. Okay, if you're spending that much, you need to sharpen the pencil. Go to Home Depot and talk to their contractor desk. You can get pretty good deals there a lot of times. In my area, there's a store called RC Willey. Anybody here from Sacramento or Boise? You've got RC Willey as well. Do you have RC Willey in Vegas? Okay, I use RC Willey for most of my appliances with a contractor's account. But all of you have some type of location like that, so find a wholesale supply. A lot of people I know, and I haven't found this yet in my market, a lot of people I know will use they'll use refurbished appliances. So they put new skins on them. They put new tops on the range, and they look brand new. They come with a warranty. They look brand new, and it's like half the cost. So find those types of connections. Bathroom fixes. Here's another pet peeve of mine. It's easy to increase the appeal of a bathroom by scraping all of the caulk, bleaching all of the tile grout, and making it all fresh, white, and new. Okay, scrape the caulk, put new caulk, and bleach the grout. That is so easy and cheap for you to get done, and it will make the kitchen or the bathrooms look brand new. If I am actually having to redo bathrooms, I just do basic white tile with a nice fiberglass tub surround. I don't spend the extra money that you'll see a lot of people spend in doing nice tile surrounds. Oh, one other thing. If I can back up. Does it just make you cringe when you walk into a bathroom and you see a disgusting toilet? Yeah. So that's another area where I will spend a little bit of extra money if I need to. If I can't get it cleaned up, or if it's got like an old wooden seat on it, spend the $40 and put a new seat on it. Make it look brand new. Okay? That's going to be a big difference for people when they're looking at it. Flooring. Sloping or sagging. This is one that we will see today. I can almost guarantee. Do you have a lot of settling issues here? Okay, we will see this. We will see this. In some neighborhoods, I don't even care. So there's an area of Salt Lake that they call Sugar House. It's kind of a prestigious, if you've made it to Sugar House on the Upper East Side, then you've made it in life. Okay? You guys are laughing, but every city has it. You know where it is in your city. Okay, in my city, this is the part of town where it's the people who have made it, but they like the old classic 1930s and 1940s homes, but they've renovated them to be nice and modern. It's those people that have made it into those neighborhoods, right? The interesting thing about Sugar House is every home in there has foundation issues, every one of them. They all have settling cracks, and nobody cares. You get an inspection that says your home is sinking into the ground and you've got a foot difference from the back corner to the front corner, and they say, oh, okay, so does my neighbor. I'm not going to do anything about that. Why would I? Okay, I'm not going to worry about it. However, if I'm in a brand new neighborhood built in 2005, and I've got 3 inches of settling from the back corner to the front corner, am I going to be able to sell that house? That's got to be addressed, right? So you're going to look at different things for different areas, locations, and demographics of people that you're selling to. Other things, loose carpeting. Sometimes I don't even have to replace carpeting. This isn't very often. Sometimes I can get away with hiring a good quality carpet cleaner who comes in, does the carpets, and then I just get them stretched and they look brand new. If I end up replacing my carpet, I always do a very cheap grade carpet with a high grade pad because it gives it a better lush fill. Before I move to walls, on the carpeting, those of you who are looking to acquire properties for rentals that you're going to hold, I do a completely different carpet in my rentals than I do in my houses that I sell. My rental carpets have a dark chocolate, really cheap carpet in, but it wears very, very well. And it's the exact same carpet in every single one of my rental homes. So I know every second or third tenant, I'm replacing my carpet. I just know that. And so it doesn't cost me very much to do it because the pad, you can keep pad for years. Pad doesn't wear out very quickly. My guy just goes in, tears out the carpet, throws down this new cheap piece. We get it cleaned in between tenants, but because of the color of it, it'll last quite a while. So use that as a tip. Never ever put light colored carpet in a rental home. Walls, cracked or loose plaster, paint, and style, drywall seams and nails showing. We're going to see some obvious signs I'll point out on the bus today or in the properties today. But this is another one where you can see signs of settling long before you'll see it even in the foundation. So pay attention to your walls. You'll see signs here. My properties, I always do a 3-tone paint job. Anybody know the difference between, well, there will be some. Who knows the difference between a 3-tone and a 2-tone paint job? Yes, difference between a 3-tone and a 2-tone paint job. You would think, wouldn't you? Sounds logical to me. Whoever determined this, though, wasn't as logical as you and I. So here's the difference, guys. A 3-tone paint job, it's 3 cuts. Your base, your trim, your doors are a color. Your walls are a different color. And your ceiling is generally back to the same color as your trim and your doors. So if you've got white trim and doors, and you've got tan walls, or gray walls is the new trend. It used to be everybody did beige inside, right? Now it's grayish or gray. So white trim, gray walls or tan walls, and then white ceilings. Cost me barely any more money to do that, and it makes a huge difference. It looks a lot better. I'm going to skip over this. Oh, one thing I do want to talk about here. Light colored coat of paint in an unfinished basement makes the area look clean, bright, and more valuable. Do you guys have a lot of basements in this market? I know there's parts of Texas where you do. I haven't seen them very much here in the Dallas area. California, some of you from California, you don't even know what I'm saying when I say basement. This is not a wine cellar, okay? In my market, in Utah, it's very rare to not have a basement. Basement is living space, bedrooms, living room, bathroom. It's just normal living space, just below grade. In other markets, like I said in California, you don't even understand what a basement is. So we'll look at this. But basements, garages, things like that, anywhere where there's exposed flooring or just big open areas that are not well lit, I paint everything bright white, including the concrete floors. So I'll paint my concrete floors in my basements bright white. I'll throw some fleck on them because it just brightens up the room and makes them look bigger and more open. Just tidies it up. Utility rooms. Utility rooms, people a lot of times just ignore them. I'll just paint them white. The devil is in the details. These are where you're going to set yourselves apart once again. Replacing doorknobs, striker plates, light fixtures, even just the plates. Especially if you go into a home that's been a heavy smoker in it, and all of your switches and plugs and plates are stained yellow, right? Replace those. Or here's a cool trick that I just learned the other day, and this works just fine. Scrub them, clean them so that it takes. Cut out a piece of cardboard, put it over the top of the plug, take a spray can of white paint, just give it a quick spray. It looks brand new white. It holds to the surface, and you've saved yourself, or you saved your contractor, 10 minutes of time of switching out that plug plus the $2 that the plug would have cost you. So that's an easy, quick fix. But do that stuff. That makes a big difference. It's just going to catch your eye better. We already talked about the toilet seat. Faucets. Make sure your faucets look good, are in good repair. Air system vents. I replace my air system vents a lot. They're very cheap to replace, and it makes a world of difference again in appeal. Bulk ordering and online shopping. I order a ton of stuff. I shouldn't say I do. I told you about Carrie yesterday, my partner that does an amazing job for me. Carrie orders a ton of stuff on my projects for me from Amazon and from other online sources. So we go into a project up front. We do a detailed analysis of everything that we know we're going to need. We need this many switch plates. We need this many towel racks. We need this many light fixtures. We do a detailed, and we do a whole itemized sheet on it. And then she'll get onto Amazon and different websites and do a bulk order of everything. We'll save ourselves thousands of dollars on every deal that we do by doing it that way. Even through Home Depot or Lowe's, you can do bulk ordering. And if you order, I'm trying to remember now, I think Home Depot, it has to be $1,500. And Lowe's, I don't remember what their number is. but you'll get about a 10% discount by doing that. Okay? So rather than going every time you need one or two things, don't go to Home Depot or Lowe's every day. Do one big order up front. You'll save yourself thousands of dollars. And then lastly, but not least, bones, the mechanics of the deal. So here's where we're looking at your HVAC. Have they been inspected? Are they in proper working order? Any leaking around the boiler or the water heater? What does that tell us if we see water spots underneath the water heater? What's the average lifespan of a water heater? Okay, inspectors will tell you lifespan on a water heater is between 10 to 13 years. I've got water heaters in properties that are over 30 years old, and I'm just waiting for that call any day from my tenants to tell me that they've got a broken water heater, because it's going to happen sooner than later. If I'm doing a house that I'm selling and the water heater is over 15 years old, I replace it. I don't even think about trying to keep it, because as soon as that buyer has their inspector come in, they're immediately going to flag it, and so now the buyer's going to think I'm trying to sell them a lemon and I'm trying to do a shoddy job of rehab. I do a good quality product. I do a much better product than any of my competition in my market, and so I want my deals to stick. Once I get a contract in hand, I don't want to worry about that garbage. So I get an inspection of my own. I replace the water heaters. I get the HVAC systems tuned and green stickered. Who knows what a green sticker is? What's that? Yeah, service. So you may call it different in different markets. Our utilities in our market, they say you should get them green stickered. That's just somebody coming out, cleaning and servicing your furnace or your air exchanger, and then tuning the gas chamber to make it as most efficient as it can possibly be. Okay? Smoke alarms. Every room needs a smoke alarm. I buy the contractor packs at Home Depot. There's 5 of them in it. I stick one in every room, because once again, for that $3 that it just cost me or $5 that it just cost me, why would I deal with having the home inspector flag it and make them think I'm delivering a shoddy product? CO detectors. Every floor, every level of a home needs a CO detector. You guys know what a CO detector is? Okay. Yes. GFC outlets, yes, and make sure GFC outlets on the countertops and in the areas where they're supposed to be. What is it? A GFCI is it's a grounded plug that will trip properly if it arcs.
Ground fault interrupter.
Yeah, yes, that's ground fault interrupter circuit, or circuit interrupter.
Like the radio into the bathtub.
Yes. So if you drop the radio in the bathtub, it doesn't electrocute you, it pops the circuit. I hate it when that happens, don't you, Ken? That's happened to you, hasn't it?
Oh yeah, twice.
Okay, let's talk about the math really quick. Pull out your books. I usually do this on the bus, but I've been told that's not as effective. So we're going to do this really quick in the book. Grab one of your worksheets. Dan, if I can go to the Elmo. Okay, so up here on the top of this worksheet, you see the notes that you're taking as we're walking through. This is your analysis. You're writing down other notes, such as water heater is 20 years old, or furnace looks horrible, or whatever other notes you're writing down here. Then we get down to the bottom. Okay? Then we get down to the bottom. This is what we talked about. This is what you were mentioning that we talked about yesterday in our breakout session. So I'm just going to go over this briefly. For me, as the investor, I don't care about what does an appraisal say the property is worth today. I care about what's it going to be worth when I'm done with it. And I'm already going to warn you, when you go and submit your loan package to the loan officer and you tell them this is what Regan told me to do, they're going to tell you, well, I don't care what Regan, they're not going to say it this way. Let me preface it that first. They're not going to say it this way, but they're going to say, I don't care what Regan told you. We have to go off of today's appraisal. So be prepared for that, and we'll talk about this in more detail. But this is all I need to know. ARV. How do I determine ARV then on a property? Those apps that I gave you earlier, that's one way. Okay? Realtor.com is a great one. I like Realtor.com better than any of those other apps because I can get on there, I can look at the surrounding neighborhood of the property I'm looking at, and I can say, okay, well, my house is a 3-bed, 2-bath, 1,200 square foot, built in 1975. Okay? So if I know those details on my house, I can go to Realtor.com. I can look at anything that has sold in the last 6 months or that is currently active, and I can see exactly what they sold for. If they're sold, I can only see one picture. But if they're active, I can actually scroll through and see all of the pictures. So I can tell, is this rehabbed or is it not? Is it good condition, bad condition, or somewhere in between? So that gives me a good bearing on what my comps are without even having to call a realtor. So all of you have access to that. That's directly tied into the MLS. The reason I like Realtor.com better than I like Zillow or Trulia or any of those other apps is because Realtor.com is directly tied to the MLS. Zillow, Trulia, all those other ones, they're pulling feed from the MLS, but it's delayed, anywhere from 3 to 7 days. So you might see something on Zillow that says that it's available, and it might have sold a month ago. That happens all the time. Okay? So I like Realtor.com. So I'm going to look at those comps, and I'm going to say, well, this one looks horrible. It's obviously a bank-owned or something else wrong with it. It's selling for $120,000, but this one looks great. It's been on the market for 300 days at $150,000. It's obviously overpriced. And somewhere in the middle, there's some that have gone, and let's say that ours is ARV of 130. Okay? So we determine ours is ARV of 130. Now, I'm going to give you 2 quick formulas. If you are using hard money or private money to purchase your deals, you need to be at 65% of ARV, so 65% of ARV if you're using hard money or private money. Okay? This is hard money. Now, if you're using cash, you can go higher. If you're using cash, you can be more like 70 to 73%. And when I say cash, I mean if you're using your cash, legitimate cash, or if you've got like a cheap equity line on your house or a cheap line of credit or something like that. Why the difference? Cost of money, obviously, right? So Lee told you yesterday, while we were out in the breakout session, he was telling you guys here that our baseline price on our wholesale pricing is 10 and 1. That's pretty cheap, private money, hard money. Okay? If you were to just come to us and borrow it, what's it going to be? 10 and 4, right? So you that are brokers, that's what you're selling the money to people for, is 10 and 4. So that's the difference in the costs. If you figure you're going to carry a house for 6 months, the 4 points you're going to get for sure. And then the 10% interest, you're going to carry that for half of a year, so that's 5. That's 9%. There's the difference in why you can pay more if you've got cash. So 130 times 65%. Just because we're going to have to do this again later, you guys need to see this. 130 times 0.65 is how you're going to do that. For those of you that don't like math, you're going to become mathematicians. 84.5. Can you guys see that writing? Not very well, huh? Repairs. 3 bedrooms, 2 bathroom home, 1,200 square feet. Give me a number for repairs. 9,000, 8,500, 4,000. Wow, I may have set the stage a little too low today. 1,200 square feet. 1975. So let's talk about this real quick too. Some of the analysis that you can do on a property before you go out to it. If this is a 1975 house, we can make some assumptions. I'm going to assume that this has original HVAC system. I'm also going to assume it has original windows. I'm going to assume that it's probably got original kitchen and bathroom cabinetry. So all of those things are costs. HVAC, I'm probably not going to replace. I'm probably going to be able to just get that tuned in most cases. But water heater, maybe or maybe not. Now, the water heater is not expensive. You can get a Home Depot water heater for $350. A roof, 1975. Tell me what you think about the roof. What are we going to assume about this roof? 1975 is how many years ago? What's that? You're right. That's what we're going to assume. Okay, 1975 is 40 years ago, right? What is the average lifespan of a roof? Roofing contractors? What did you say?
15 years here max.
15 years here max, really? Okay, because of the dry heat and hailstorms. Okay. Okay, so in most markets, my market, average lifespan of a roof is 30 years. Even cheap shingles. Okay, average lifespan of a roof is 30 years. In Southern California, you're going to get even more than that out of it. In places like this, places like Florida, you might get 5 to 10 years a lot of times on cheap roofs if you don't do good roofs. So you've got to know that for your market. But I'm going to assume on a 1975 house, based on what you're saying then in this market, I'm going to assume it's already gone through 2 roofs and it's now on its 3rd and it's probably okay. That's what I'm going to assume until it proves me otherwise. What are some tools that we could use to prove ourselves otherwise or to get this information without having to drive out to the house? How could we look at some of that stuff, the curb appeal stuff that I talked about? How could we know that without even going to the house? Google Earth. Google Earth is an amazing tool, guys. You can save yourself so much money and time by using Google Earth. You can go right down to the street view. You can look at the cars that the people drive that are parked in the driveway. You can learn a lot about a house and a neighborhood without ever driving out to it. You can drive an entire neighborhood without ever leaving your desk. Okay, so take advantage of that. Save yourself that time and money. Okay, so repairs. This is a 1,200 square foot, 40-year-old house. I'm going to put repairs at $15,000. And we'll see, right? But that's what I'm going to estimate at based on Google Earth and all the other due diligence that I do before going out to it. This is just for my offer, sight unseen. Okay, go ahead, Charles.
Do you have to bring a house up to specs to meet FHA, like with insulation? I mean, is that going to be required?
They're not going to do so an FHA appraiser is not going to check insulation. They're not going to check that type of stuff. The things they're going to check is going to be windows. There can't be any cracks. There can't be any broken seals. And when I say seals, I mean the thermal seal in the window, not the window sill, right? There can't be any peeling paint anywhere. There can't be any missing siding. There can't be any wood to earth contact. There can't be any stairs of more than 3 without a railing, or 3 or more, sorry. There can't be 3 or more stairs without a railing. What am I missing? There's some other FHA things. Oh, roof has to be able to get a cert on it. So you have to be able to get a contractor to give you a certification that that roof is going to last 5 years.
It has to have a central heating and air.
That is not accurate. It does not have to have central heating air. Nope. The windows have to be able to open everywhere. That is an FHA. Okay. So there's some of those things. A lot of those things, though, again, we're going to be able to tell based on assumptions, based on age, based on pictures we can find online, and then based on Google Earth. So 90% of my analysis, I'm doing it without ever leaving my office. I only drive to the property to confirm that 10% of unknowns or to counter that 10% of unknowns. So long story short, on this property, we can afford to pay $79,500. $69,500. Thank you. Okay, and obviously the formula would change if we were using cash. So that's very simple, easy math for you to look at and do as you're now analyzing deals. Okay, guys. Dave is jumping up and down in the back, yelling at me, getting ready to throw darts at me because we're running over time, and the bus is outside waiting for us. It's 9:22. We are pulling out of here at 9:35. That gives you almost 15 minutes.